Let's continue our educational journey with avoiding costly mistakes in your retirement investments while navigating this low interest rate over a long period of time environment that we're in. This week, we're going to talk about an area of investments that you probably don't think of, but maybe you should. Welcome back. I'm Telton Hall, Certified Financial Planner at Advanced Financial Planning in Cedar City, Utah, where our team, we help upper middle class and affluent families accomplish their retirement goals. We're in the middle of a deep dive into index allocations with the goal to help you understand how different types of allocations, how they might benefit or how they might be hindered by an extended low interest rate environment. Specifically, we're talking in relation to the Fed Board's August of 2020 policy adjustment to keep interest rates low, even if inflation runs loose a little bit. That's super important. It is time to talk about a couple indexes with all of that in mind that are probably not on your radar and are very likely not in your 401k or your IRA investments, but maybe they should be. I'm talking about natural resources and commodities. Now remember, we're not saying whether these approaches are right or wrong for you or how much or how little you should have. We won't know that until we have a conversation with you to really determine what's in your best interest. But in this video, we're really trying to give you just some honest, straightforward, comprehensible, good education to help you make smart decisions. So let's start with ultra simplified basics of commodities. The general use of a commodities fund is to, can you guess it? Here it is. Are you ready? Help hedge against inflation. There you go. Of course we're talking about that right now. So that's the general use. But the blessing and the curse of today's index market is that there are a lot of very focused commodity strategies. For example, you can have ETFs that track just about everything. You can have an ETF that tracks purely the price of silver bullion. Same thing for gold. Those will typically do well during times of a lot of economic uncertainty, particularly if the Fed is creating dollars and the national debt is moving up. What? Does that sound familiar? Or, for instance, here's another example. You could buy a fund that tracks just the price of something used in commercial use. Palladium would be an example. It's gone up significantly, mostly because they're using it in car exhaust systems to cut down emissions. So what you need to recognize is that a focused commodities fund, it's going to be very different than a very broad-based fund. For example, I mentioned that there are we were talking about silver bullion ETFs that track the price of physical silver. If you compare that to a broad-based ETF that tracks, for instance, let's look at the Dow Jones UBS Commodities Index. Its holdings, and its changes, and there's various different index, but its holdings could be represented like this. Take a second, get your bearings on those holdings. So notice the precious metals make up 18% of a broader commodities index, but the agriculture and the energy, they're a much bigger player. In this example, the precious metals component, it's not all going to be silver. It's more diversified than that, meaning silver might only be 1 or 2% allocation versus a 100% allocation in a really focused fund. So if silver takes off like it did over the last year leading up to third quarter 2020, the focused fund has a substantial positive return, while the broad-based index, because of energy and livestock and agricultural holdings, that fund actually has a negative return during that same period, which actually makes sense. Remember, broad-based commodities, they're really to help against inflation, and this has not been a particularly inflationary period. So a focused fund is for a specific situation. The broad-based fund is to have the potential for gains to help offset overall inflation if goods over a long time keep going up in price. A long time might be your 30-year retirement, for instance. All right, especially where the Fed has said that they won't hold the reins tight on inflation, it's really, really important to consider this. I've focused on inflation so far, but one other interesting and connected aspect is this. During an extended period of low interest rates, the cost to finance a big stockpile of commodities, that cost is low. A low cost to stockpile pushes prices on commodities up, which makes sense. If it costs me a bunch of money every day to hold, big bushels of something, then I will lower the price that I need to sell it for so that it's not, so it's not costing me money to finance storing that every day. But if the financing costs to hold are low, i.e. you're in a low interest rate environment, then I'm going to stockpile those up until demand increases. Then I'm going to sell them into the demand to get a higher price. This obviously will push the price of commodities higher. Higher prices means you're going to be able to buy less with your dollar. Unless, of course, you're pulling your dollar from an investment account that has moved up with the cost of commodities. That's the potential place for this in a successful retirement. Good learning today. You keep this up, you're gonna be a genius. Or better yet, let us do the work. You go fishing or golfing or traveling or something. We'll help you determine what strategies can help you either get on or stay on the right track. Thanks for being with us. We'll talk to you soon.
If this information has been helpful to you, check out our other Telton's Tips videos, or better yet, call our office. You can talk to an advanced financial planning team member like me. Imagine that, a real life human that cares about you and your goals. My name is Caden Keller. I work here as a financial advisor along with Telton and the rest of the team. Here, we take a team approach to caring for our clients because we all know 2 heads are better than 1. So give our office a call, and I or anyone else on the team would be happy to answer a quick question for you or schedule a complimentary retirement planning meeting. There's also a link provided if you would like to learn more about who we are at Advanced Financial Planning or what it is we do for our clients in planning for their retirement. Lastly, the schedule an appointment link will bring up our calendar, and you can choose a time for a complimentary on the phone or an in-person retirement planning meeting. Whichever option you choose, the only mistake is to do nothing and keep working and putting retirement preparation off until you die at your desk. I've seen it time and time again. No matter how good and specialized Telton and I are, when people wait too long to seriously consider their retirement options, they're significantly set back and can damage their retirement. So call, schedule, or click to learn more. You've got nothing to lose, and your future self in retirement has a whole lot to gain.